So pricing, how does the pricing work for both UPS and FedEx? For this example here, we're going to use some FedEx pricing. Both carriers publish what they call their list rates online. So you can go to ups.com, fedex.com, do a quick search on list rates, and they will give you by zone and by weight what the list price is. Now, even if you're a small shipper, in your pricing with those specific carriers, you should have a base discount. But let's start from the beginning. Let's say you have a 20-pound package that you want to ship from here in Norwell, Mass, to a company in Seattle, Washington. All right, that's a Zone 8 shipment. That's the furthest distance away in both networks. The list rate for a ground package is $30.51. The list rate for a next day early AM is $238.53. What we consistently see with shippers is that they don't have really good controls in place on what mode people need to use. Now, in some cases, you really do need this package next day by 8 a.m. In most cases, a slower service is going to suffice. This service, the ground service, is going to be a 5-day transit. This is obviously next day. So if you have the controls in place, you can save yourself a ton of money without even getting into improving your discounts. Discounts. Now that we know what the list rate is going to be, both carriers in your pricing will have a base discount. That base discount is going to be based on the weight and then also the zone. So let's say, for example here, UPS in your pricing, they're going to give you a 30% discount on this list rate. From there, you have a new charge, fuel will be added, and any accessorials will also be added to that as well. We'll get a little bit deeper into accessorials in a bit. Now, in some cases, if you do enough volume with these carriers, they'll offer you an earned discount as well. So you have this base discount, again, let's assume it's 30%, but then if on an annual basis, you're spending, let's say, between $3 and $4 million, so you're say a mid-size shipper, if you're hitting on an average weekly basis a certain revenue threshold, they'll give you another point, another 2 points, another 3 points, depending on what revenue tier you're hitting. And that should all be clearly spelled out in your contract. If it's not, and you're not earning, if you do not have an earned discount in your pricing, you need to call your rep and get that in there as well. Because once you get to a certain volume threshold, even though it's only 1 or 2%, that's going to move the needle at the end of the year when you really go back and understand all of your spends. All right, let's talk about dimensions and why they're important with pricing. So about 5 years ago, both small package carriers introduced dimensional pricing, whereas before, everything was based on the actual weight and the distance the package was traveling. Now, there's a calculation that both carriers use to do a dimensional weight versus an actual weight. And at the end of the day, the larger of the two is what your pricing is going to be based on. So let's go through an example. Let's say we have a package that's 24 inches long, 10 inches wide, and 16 inches tall, okay? Length times width times height. That comes out to 3840. Then what each carrier is going to do is they're going to assign you a dim factor. Now, the dim factor is negotiable, and we'll talk about that again later. But length times width times height divided by your dim factor, in this example, it comes out to 27.6. And of course, both carriers round up. So now you're paying on a 28-pound package, even though the actual weight is only 20 pounds. Now, before we talked about the ground rate of a 20-pound package going to Zone 8 was $30.51. However, the ground rate going to Zone 8 on a 28-pound package is $40.82. So you're talking about a 30% increase in overall cost right there. Now, this dim factor here, this is negotiable, and you're gonna have more success with the more volume that you have. But let's say you were able to negotiate 165 as a dim factor. This cost right now, or that 28-pound package, which translates to that cost, this would actually now be a 24-pound package. And it doesn't sound like much, but you want to scratch and claw for everything that you can to bring down this pricing, because this is huge. And the fear is that most shippers don't understand the way that this pricing actually works. So you're thinking, yep, 30 bucks my list. Okay, we get a 30% discount. No, now it's 30% higher. and you're gonna get a 30% discount.